How to talk at home to yourself. Ilara often felt a knot in her stomach whenever she imagined speaking English. Her mind would race, words dissolving before they even reached her lips. The dream of fluent conversation seemed distant, almost impossible, a mountain too steep to climb. She knew many words but struggled connecting them naturally. This was her daily silent struggle, a personal battle. One morning, a simple idea sparked: how to talk at home to yourself. She decided to start there, in the quiet sanctuary of her room. No judging eyes, no pressure, just her and the mirror. It felt awkward initially, speaking to her reflection, but she committed to this private practice. Her first step involved narrating her mundane activities. "I am making coffee," she'd murmur, "the water is boiling now." This seemingly silly exercise was crucial. It forced her to articulate thoughts in English, making her internal monologue external. This simple routine laid a foundational brick. Next, she tackled vocabulary. How to learn words effectively became her quest. Instead of rote memorization, she began using new words immediately in her self-conversations. If she learned serendipity, she would try to weave it into her next internal narrative, even if clumsily. She discovered that context was king. Learning words and phrases, not isolation, made them stick better. She used an online dictionary not just for definitions but for example sentences too. Each new word was a tiny victory, expanding her linguistic arsenal day by day. The Talk in English Just One Page Per Day challenge became her sacred ritual. She picked an English book, often a simple novel or an article, and read one page aloud. Then, she would summarize it to herself in English, trying to recall key phrases. This consistent practice, reading and then speaking about the content, tremendously improved her fluency. It trained her brain to think directly in English, bypassing translation. The initial stuttering slowly morphed into a more confident, flowing articulation, day by day, page by page. She actively sought talking tips. One valuable piece of advice was to record herself. Listening to her own voice, identifying areas for improvement, like pronunciation or intonation, was initially cringeworthy but incredibly insightful. It was a brutal but effective self-assessment tool. Another tip involved shadowing native speakers. She'd listen to podcasts or YouTube videos and try to mimic the rhythm and intonation. This wasn't just about repetition, it was about internalizing natural speech patterns, an essential component of authentic-sounding English. She also learned the importance of focusing on common phrases rather than just individual words. Mastering greetings, common questions, and polite expressions made initial interactions less daunting. These ready-made linguistic chunks built her confidence significantly, reducing her hesitation. Ilara decided to implement an English study plan for talking. This wasn't a rigid timetable but a flexible framework. Mornings were for self-talk and new vocabulary. Afternoons were dedicated to reading aloud and summarization. Evenings were reserved for listening practice and shadowing. Her plan included specific time slots for different activities, but flexibility was key. If she missed a session, she wouldn't feel defeated, she'd just pick it up the next day. Consistency, not perfection, was her mantra. This structured yet adaptable approach worked wonders. She incorporated engaging materials into her plan. Instead of dry textbooks, she chose topics she genuinely found interesting. This made the learning process enjoyable, a true very interesting story unfolding daily. Motivation remained high when the content resonated with her personal interests. For her listening practice, she started with short, clear English stories and gradually moved to more complex podcasts. She trained her ear to pick out nuances, unfamiliar accents, and rapid speech. This gradual immersion sharpened her auditory comprehension abilities remarkably over time. English talking practice moved beyond just her home. She sought out online language exchange partners. Initially, these conversations were nerve-wracking, filled with pauses and awkward silences. Her heart would pound, but she pushed through the discomfort bravely every single time. Each conversation, no matter how brief or challenging, was a step forward. She learned to embrace mistakes as learning opportunities, not failures. The feedback from native speakers was invaluable, gently guiding her pronunciation and grammar towards accuracy and naturalness. Her daily struggle was real. There were days she felt exhausted, unmotivated, or simply overwhelmed by the sheer volume of information. Progress wasn't always linear. Sometimes, she felt like she was regressing, forgetting words she thought she knew well. But Ilara refused to give up. She remembered her goal, to speak English confidently, to connect with the world. On tough days, she would just do a little, perhaps 5 minutes of self-talk, reminding herself that even small steps accumulate into giant leaps eventually. She learned to celebrate mini victories. Understanding a complex phrase in a movie without subtitles, successfully articulating a nuanced opinion, or just getting through a full conversation without freezing, each was a significant morale booster, fueling her continued efforts. How to improve your listening skills became an active pursuit. She started watching English movies and TV shows, initially with subtitles, then progressively turning them off. She focused on understanding the general gist before drilling down into specific words and phrases. Active listening was crucial. She didn't just hear, she processed. She tried to anticipate what speakers would say next, summarizing their points internally. This practice not only improved comprehension but also honed her ability to respond quickly and appropriately. Her listening extended to music too. She'd look up lyrics, sing along, and understand the stories within the songs. This enjoyable method made listening practice feel less like a chore and more like entertainment, blending learning with leisure seamlessly and effectively. The combination of self-talk, active word learning, consistent reading aloud, strategic talking tips, and a dedicated study plan started yielding remarkable results. Her internal vocabulary was connecting to her external voice, creating a more seamless flow of expression. Ilara noticed her hesitation shrinking. The pauses became shorter, the ums and ahs less frequent. She began thinking directly in English, the translation step fading away, replaced by instant recall and construction of sentences in real time effortlessly. Her confidence soared. The fear of making mistakes diminished significantly. She understood that fluency wasn't about perfection but about effective communication. People understood her, and she understood them, which was the ultimate objective for her. The transformation was gradual but profound. From whispering to herself in her room, she progressed to comfortable online conversations. The journey was arduous, marked by numerous small setbacks and moments of despair, yet her determination remained unwavering throughout. She remembered the early days, the sheer terror of articulating even a simple sentence in front of another person. Now, those memories felt distant, almost surreal. Her voice was stronger, her thoughts clearer, her ability to express herself undeniably improved, day by day. How to talk with anyone transformed from a daunting question into an exciting prospect. She started initiating conversations with English speakers she encountered in daily life, like tourists or colleagues, rather than avoiding them as she once did frequently. These real-life interactions provided invaluable practice. The unpredictable nature of live conversation forced her to adapt, think on her feet, and use all the skills she had painstakingly cultivated. Each interaction built her resilience and sharpened her spontaneous speaking abilities. She joined a local English speaking club, stepping entirely out of her comfort zone. Surrounded by other learners and a few native speakers, she actively participated in discussions, debates, and role-playing scenarios, pushing her boundaries further than ever before. The club offered a safe, supportive environment for authentic English talking practice. Members encouraged each other, sharing their own struggles and tips. This communal learning space accelerated her progress tremendously, fostering a sense of belonging among learners. Ilara realized that learning English wasn't just about grammar rules or vocabulary lists. It was about connection, about understanding diverse perspectives, and sharing her own. Language was a bridge, and she was now confidently crossing it every single day. Her journey became a very interesting story, one she often shared with aspiring language learners. She emphasized the power of consistency, the bravery required to speak, and the incredible reward of truly being understood across cultures and continents. She often recounted her daily struggle, not to elicit sympathy, but to show that setbacks are normal and perseverance is key. Every time she stumbled, she just got back up, dusted herself off, and tried again, stronger and wiser. The simple act of talking at home to yourself remained a core component of her routine. It was her personal warm-up, a private space where she could experiment with new phrases and reinforce learned vocabulary without any external pressure whatsoever. She continued to learn words by engaging with authentic materials, not just textbooks. Watching documentaries, reading news articles, and listening to interviews kept her vocabulary fresh and relevant, adapting to current language usage and trends effectively. The Talk in English Just One Page Per Day habit evolved. Now, instead of just reading, she would also record her summary, comparing it to previous attempts, noticing her improvements in clarity, fluency, and the richness of her vocabulary selection. The talking tips she had gathered were now second nature. She instinctively used pausing for emphasis, varied her intonation, and maintained eye contact during conversations. These subtle but powerful techniques enhanced her communicative effectiveness dramatically and naturally. Her English study plan for talking had transformed from a structured schedule into an integrated lifestyle. English wasn't a separate subject, it was woven into her daily activities, from listening to podcasts during chores to thinking in English constantly. English talking practice was no longer a forced exercise but a natural extension of her social life. She felt comfortable initiating small talk with strangers, participating in group discussions, and even presenting ideas in English with surprising ease. She continued to prioritize how to improve your listening skills, understanding that effective communication is a two-way street. She actively listened for context, emotion, and subtle cues, ensuring she truly grasped what others were conveying to her. The initial question, how to talk with anyone, had been answered. It wasn't about magic formulas but about consistent effort, embracing discomfort, and building skills brick by painstaking brick. Her journey was a testament to the power of dedication. Ilara now found immense joy in her newfound linguistic freedom. She could travel, meet people from different backgrounds, and understand global perspectives directly. The world had truly opened up to her, thanks to her persistence and bravery. Her story served as a beacon of hope for others struggling with language acquisition. She often shared her journey, emphasizing that fluency is a marathon, not a sprint, and that every small step contributes to the ultimate triumphant outcome. She believed that anyone could achieve their English-speaking goals by following a similar path, starting small, being consistent, and never being afraid to make mistakes. Learning was an ongoing process, full of discovery and personal growth. The simple act of consistently applying herself, even on challenging days, proved to be the most critical factor in her success. It wasn't about innate talent, but sheer willpower and the daily commitment to her improvement objectives and dreams. Her success reinforced the idea that self-learning, when approached with discipline and curiosity, can be incredibly powerful. She became her own best teacher, observer, and motivator throughout this transformative and challenging process of language mastery. The transformation from silent struggle to confident communication was her ultimate victory. She had not only mastered a language but had also developed incredible resilience and self-belief, qualities that extended far beyond just speaking English. Ilara now advocated for an enjoyable learning process. If it wasn't fun, it wouldn't be sustainable. She encouraged learners to find materials that genuinely excited them, making the daily practice feel like a privilege, not merely a chore. She understood that the fear of judgment often paralyzes learners. Her advice was to start within, with self-talk, then gradually expand to trusted friends, and finally, engage with the wider world, building confidence step by incremental step. The core message of her journey was clear: consistency beats intensity every time. Daily, small actions compounded into significant progress, proving that steady effort truly yields extraordinary and long-lasting results in language acquisition. She realized that embracing imperfections was vital. Mistakes were not roadblocks but signposts, indicating areas for improvement. Every misstep was a lesson, guiding her closer to natural and articulate English expression, reinforcing her learning. Her personal story resonated deeply with many, showcasing that true fluency emerges from sustained effort and a courageous willingness to step outside one's comfort zone frequently. It was a narrative of triumph over linguistic apprehension. Ilara's confidence wasn't just in her English, it radiated into all aspects of her life. The discipline and perseverance honed during her language journey translated into greater self-assurance and a proactive approach to new challenges she encountered. And so, Ilara, once timid and hesitant, stood tall, a testament to what consistent daily effort and unwavering belief in oneself can achieve. Her story was a powerful reminder that anyone can conquer the English-speaking world.